This time around, it seems appropriate to start with our new segment, our favorite comment from last week. From episode 18, our longtime viewer Raymond Throne writes, in response to the conversation that we had had about being able to conceive of or perceive or even function in
a singularity.
Time and space switch. Space becomes a fixed constant, ruled inexorably by the gravity of the singularity, now an inevitability rather than an object. Time becomes unfixed, directed by the energy expended by the object trapped in the singularity. That which enters must eventually enter the singularity, but doing so warps conventional understanding of space-time beyond such a point that human beings are prepared to answer what that really means. Humans are beings accustomed to being anchored in time. In a very real sense, it is beyond our nature to understand what being unfixed in time would mean.
Oh.
Isn't that creepy? It's just weird to think about it. Very well said, as always, Raymond.
Boggles.
It's so fun isn't the right word, but interesting to try and comprehend what something incomprehensible is.
Be careful, Damon, because I think we've already played a game where you know what that leads. Cthulhu Fatagan. Speaking of comprehending the incomprehensible, we're the Bittersweet Gamers.
Is that a compliment or an insult?
Two things can be true at once.
I'm the Opinionator?
And I'm We Squared. And tell us, Suzuha, how much do you know about time travel?
This seems really important. Man, I know I've kind of said this like a broken record the last couple episodes.
But that's never stopped us before.
There we go. That's the sort of insult I was looking for.
Anytime, buddy.
That's why you're my friend. I'll kill you later. So, we really, really do appreciate your comments. I wish that we did have enough time.
But time marches inexorably on for everyone.
We really, really appreciate it, guys. Don't think for a moment that we don't.
Thank you. Even if you don't comment, thank you for watching.
お前はタイムトラベルについて詳しいか？
それってどういう意味かな？
She says with a suspicious expression.
So I explained to her what happened just now. Oh, yeah?
Nothing bad will come from this.
信じらんない。そんなの聞いたことないよ。ねえ、本当のこと言ってる？
Methinks she does protest a bit too much.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
当たり前だ。俺たちは紛れもなくタイムマシンを開発した。そして過去を変えることができたのだ。
I mean, not to any appreciable degree, but you know.
我らの偉業を否定することは誰にもできない。そう、誰にもだ。
ああ、もうそういうことじゃなくて。
I mean, I guess it's possible that she's some weird survivalist commando or Mukuro Ikusaba.
君の言うことが本当なのかどうかわかんないけどさ。こういう時はジョン・タイターに聞いてみればいいよ。
There we go. A little bit more than mere tantalizing.
ジョン・タイター。
ほら、今さ、話題になってるらしいじゃん。過去へ遡ってきたタイムトラベラ
ー。Is he? Says the woman who doesn't even really use email that much?
John Titor, perhaps? I mean, hadn't we said that Suzuha was either... Well, we went through every possibility, but Suzuha being John Titor was one.
Yeah. Where's your Chevy?
なんか知ってっかもよ。同じタイムトラベラー同士ってことで。
Well, we haven't been to Atchan in a while, I guess.
なるほど。確かに、お前の言う通りかもしれん。あ、いや、それで間違いない。
You're absolutely right. Thank you for guiding me where I need to go.
There were other times where he'd already gotten the information she was providing, say, about this hidden function of the IBN 5100, but... The undoing of past events could possibly be explained through the many worlds interpretation that Titor talked about.
I mean, he has his email.
And come to think of it, it was Titor's advice that led me to the IBN 5100. Come to think of it, we have gotten an email from Suzuha. But when did we ever exchange addresses?
I think he said in an offhand tone that he gave her his email. I might be misremembering, though.
No, so could I. You should be able to give me a hint this time, too.
俺だ。ジョン・タイターは、この俺を導くために、未来からやってきたかもしれん。なあ、そうだ。奴がこの2010年へとやってきたのは、まさしく、シュタインズゲートの選択だよ。エルプサイコングル。
And then she's like, Okarin-san, or rather, Okabe Rintaro-san, what are you doing?
バイトのお姉ちゃん、あのおじさんは誰と電話で話してるの？
Or it'll be Nae instead.
さあ、
Sister Brown.
未来人と交信してたりして。
Oh yeah? Funny you should say it that way.
未来人？
バイト戦士。俺は早速タイターに連絡を取ってみるぞ。素晴らしい助言に感謝する。
私役に立った？そんならよか。
I am not going to question anything about any of our interactions.
Part-time warrior's eyes pop open mid-sentence.
Makise has arrived, acquiring target.
うわ、やっば。店長機関、店長機関。
Bwee! Bwee! Bwee!
なえ、もし店長に聞かれたらさ、私はちゃんと店番してたって言ってよ。
She was doing her job, though. Nothing.
うん。だから今度、自転車に乗せてね。乗せる乗せる。じゃ、頑張って、岡部倫太郎。私応援してっからさ。
Nae and I are left in front of the store.
What are you doing near my daughter?
Sorry, sir! Sorry!
お父さん、おかえりなさい。
ないそこのうさんくせえ野郎に何をされたてめえ、よくも俺の大事な娘をたぶらかしてくれたな。殺すぞ。
All I was doing was talking to her, sir. However, since you have objected to me speaking to your daughter, I will cease and desist immediately. Please do not kill me and allow me to live. I think that's an accurate read.
I think so, yeah.
待ってくれ。俺は何もしていない。
No, no. If you try and fight back, things are only going to get worse.
だったらなんでおめえとナイが二人っきりで話してんだ。あ？
二人きりじゃない。今の今まで鈴葉もここにいました。
Please forgive me, Suzuha. My life is too precious. It's certainly more important than your job.
ナイ、そうなのか？
And he's like, Nae, so nanuka, like this nice little high-pitched voice, instead of like this really vulgar, like gangster-style R-rolling.
バイトのお姉ちゃんに自転車に乗せてもらう約束したの。だからサボってなかったって言わなきゃ。
That is adorable, and that is why she is a daddy's girl. The manager breathes a heavy sigh, simultaneously relief and mild disappointment.
サボる方法だけはうまいんだよな、あのバイト。
There's no business! And she tried to do work before and you told her to stop! It's true, I've never seen her actually do work, but I haven't been aware of there being any work that ever needs to be done.
おい、これバイト！サボってたことは分かってんだぞ、こら！
I actually, my very first job was basically a job that didn't need to exist.
Okay.
And they tried it for 6 months, and at the end of it, they were like, no, this is a terrible idea, and so they stopped. And so I basically didn't really do anything and was paid for it. If there was something to do, I did it, but I mean...
There wasn't really much to do?
It was a retail thing. In like an 8-hour shift, there would maybe be, if we were lucky, there'd maybe be like 30 customers.
Oh, wow.
あとなんで42型がつけっぱなしになってんだ。消しとけって言っただろうが。
Flee!
ごめんなさい。
So even though he sits there and watches TV, she can't?
He's the owner.
Oh, okay. The vocalist is a bee.
Probably Beast, I would say.
Of course, Beast. We were talking in the last time about Anison.
The vocalist, FES, is also known as the fallen angel who accepted chaos and Kakitas' force raid. Her atmosphere has changed a little since her indie days. Oh, I didn't say nya at all.
Ah, that means she actually cares about this one. She's talking about something that really matters.
Rather appropriate for the subject matter. The correct answer is chaos.
Become chaos, bearing an endless pain. What is this discussion we are having back and forth? Oh well, it's kind of fun.
I think you desire chaos, nya.
I need to get in touch with Titor as quickly as... Sorry, I just processed what you said. When Ferris said, "Doth thou desire chaos?" maybe she was trying to talk about her favorite band.
Oh.
I need to get in touch with Titor as quickly as possible, which is why I quickly blew off that cat maid. He might be able to give me the answers I seek. He might even be able to explain the event that I witnessed a few days ago, and have sort of forgotten about or tried to ignore the instantaneous disappearance of everyone on the streets of Akiba. There's no way I can combat this.
Become chaos! Nya!
Thank goodness we got that nya, and I feel better now.
Okay.
Now that we dealt with something extremely important, when I burst into the lab, everyone looks at me with concerned expressions. I explain that we can't experiment anymore now that Mr. Braun is back, and I dismiss everyone for the day. He knows about the time machine now. Next time I see him, Nuka that is, I'll make him a lab mem to secure his silence.
Excellent.
Speaking of maids, and cats, I guess.
You know, I've been working at May Queen for 3 months as of today. The other girls threw me a party. Yay! I can't believe I've been a maid for 3 months. Time sure flew by. Oh, but don't worry. Mayushi's still Okarin's hostage full-time.
Oh, thank goodness! And Mayuri forgot to send the period.
Well, you know, she can be forgiven.
Rather surprisingly, the choice of Steins Gate is...
To ignore Mayushi. That makes me sad.
Well, she's still Okarin's hostage full-time. We have to get the worst possible ending first, and so being really mean to her is the way that we should do it. I mean, that has to be related to, like, the worst possible ending.
Probably, yeah.
I don't have time for this right now.
I'm sorry.
2.5 hours later, Kurisu and I are the only ones left in the lab. I thought I dismissed her.
Well, that doesn't mean she's going to listen.
そこの助手。お前は帰らないのか？
目障りなら帰るけど。
I like how she's reading science-y.
目障りというわけではないが、何か用事でもあるのか？
And here's more of that complete and utter darkness I was talking about a few episodes ago. Like the lighting being fascinating.
いいえ。でも、ちょっと考えたいことがあって。
Little dark to read, huh?
ホテルに戻って考えればいい。
Yeah, she's got good eyes.
For now.
何？追い出したいの？
そうか。どうせ友達もいないし、ホテルに帰っても一人ぼっちで寂しいから、この法院京馬に構ってほしいというわけだな。このお子様セレセブめ。
寂しいのはあんたの方だろ。さっきからあんまり元気ないし。
How nice.
なんなら相談に乗るぞ。私はある意味で部外者だから話しやすいんじゃない？
There's a degree of truth to that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not revealing vulnerabilities or things that you don't want to let out, for instance, because to an outsider it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
年下の女に相談する男の人って、ぐにょぐにょだけど、それでもいいんなら聞いてやってもいい。
Maki say.
Can you say that again? Just slower this time? Gunyu gunyu.
I wanted to say it. So instead, I'll just say your internet is showing.
Gunyu gunyu. Why does she have to be such a smartass?
俺はメールをする用事があるのだ。どうしてもここにいたいのならば、邪魔をせず静かにしているのだな。ザ・ゾンビ。
The zombie, he said. I also like how he needs to send the emails, which is why we just ignored that one.
その呼び方が一番カチンとくるわね。
Oh, don't worry, he'll come up with plenty more before the game's over.
Despite her complaint, Kurisu makes no move to leave. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's do what needs to be done. Question to John Titor. The code is from CERN's database. In other news, I've successfully built a machine that sends emails to the past. When we change the past by sending an email, does that change the world line? I noticed some events were undone. Does that mean the world line changed? You said the many worlds interpretation is correct, but I'd like to hear the proof if you don't mind. So in the original game, do you go into your, have to actually pull out your phone and go to the email chain you had with Titor?
Why are you asking me?
I'm not asking you.
Well, why are you looking at me when you ask it?
Well, I can't look at the audience.
Not with that attitude. Hasu. Did you see the hesitation?
Yes. Now, to wait for his reply.
ずいぶん深いため息ついてるわね。
I hear someone's phone going off outside below on the ground floor.
Maybe I should tell her about how that D-mail changed the past. Shouldn't I?
Yeah?
What is it that we're doing up here, if not this? So shouldn't I give the details? Haven't I already? And about how she seems to have lost her memories about it, i.e. isolating and discussing the D effect with the two scientists. Whatever the game actually ends up calling it, I kind of prefer D effect,
Yeah.
but we'll take what the game calls it.
I like it too.
Unless it doesn't have a name and then it's still D effect.
So there.
Why am I considering talking to Kurisu?
It's certainly not because she's an attractive woman.
He's surrounded by plenty of those! I don't think Mayuri or Daru would understand this problem. And that's not an insult, and it's also true. Kurisu, on the other hand, might be able to form a hypothesis. That's what she's here for. I mean, that's what I hope.
Just be honest with yourself.
Just then, my phone rings. Is it Titor?
Hey!
Titor's calling me? Startled, I look at my phone's display. I click my tongue in disappointment. Don't scare me like that.
クリスティーナ、お前に話しておきたいことがある。
Well, this is ominous then.
その前に電話出なくていいわけ？
ダルからだ。どうせくだらない内容だろう。
Daru hasn't sent an email to him. We've only responded to the girls in Rukako.
That's true. Well, we see, like, Okabe sees him all the time, and they have talked on the phone before.
Right. I'm just pointing that out.
It's true. You're right. It's true. It's one of those things where you can just ignore it. Not like he's gonna think something's funny.
もしもし。
Or he goes ahead and takes it, I guess.
オカリン、実はとんでもないミスに気づいたんだ。
Yeah?
ミス？
Is it about the phone wave name subject to change? Is it related to the phenomenon I experienced earlier?
実はさ、ラボに財布忘れてきた
Okay.
に
I'm here at May Queen Nyan Nyan and I can't pay for anything.
Uh-huh.
オカリン、悪いけど僕の財布届けてくんない？お礼にメイクインでドリンクおごるから。
I knew he was at May Queen. I just knew it. It's hard to tell when the game's about to do something serious or is about to go into something comical.
Well, we were, like, worried for a second.
Yeah,
It's because there's, like, a level of tension that is present with the main character.
An overall level of tension that keeps going up as the story unfolds.
Right. And it's only going to get worse. And eventually there won't be Daru calling to say he made a mistake and forgot his wallet. It could be something bad.
Yeah.
So we should enjoy it while we can.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people out there have played the Muv-Luv series. I've mentioned it offhand once or twice. The first game in the series is a slice of life.
a slice of knife.
The first game in the series is a slice of life, harem ecchi comedy, and that is not my genre. I do not enjoy that genre. And so although I did find it funny sometimes, it's a pretty funny game, I did not really enjoy the game when I played it. However, considering the rest of the series, in hindsight, I always looked back on Muv-Luv Extra, the first game, as like the ideal to be reached. Mm-hmm. You look back on it and you miss it. You wish that something, even though I didn't like it at the time, you wish that something so silly and peaceful would come back.
Because the tone takes a drastic change in the later games.
And this is kind of what that reminds me of. Eventually, we're gonna look back on like the silly conversations and gags and the doth thou desire chaos, nya,
and whatnot.
And ghetto froggies and practice swings with Samidare and wish that time was back again because everything is going to have gone to hell in a handbasket.
That's a good way of looking at it.
貴様は神田川で水浴びでもしていろ
He launches his phone out of the window like a meteor. Wait, you launch meteors out of your window? Never mind.
If you know what you're doing. I don't know what that means.
Damn it! I got stressed out for nothing. But right afterward, my phone rings again, and this one's for real. Damn you, you persistent little...
You know, in light of that, something awful must be about to happen.
なんだ、マユリか。
ちゃんとウーパをむぎゅーってした？
Oh! Darn paternal instincts.
していない。
そっか。あのね、何か悩みがあったら、マユシーに相談するんだよ。マユシーはね、難しい話はよくわかんないけど、
This is after we didn't reply to her text, too.
She is so sweet. Based on the way that they treat each other, man, I want to say something like he doesn't deserve her, but that's not really true.
Yeah.
From her perspective, it's probably the exact same thing. He might tease her, or even be kind of mean about it, but
then he jumps in front of an electrical discharge to save her.
And accepts... what's the word I'm looking for? Just like her, he accepts the way that she acts, doesn't ask her to change.
Yeah.
And is omnipresent in her life. Even though he teases and is kind of mean, well, here's the result. He's gonna say something kind of mean right back, but...
She does understand Okarin, though.
Yeah. Man!
お前にこの俺がわかるというのか
I must not be tuning hard enough.
She is probably my favorite character of this archetype.
Well, considering how you hate every other character of that archetype, I don't think that's really stirring statement.
You got the better of me. What can I say? I've been shot down. It's still true, though. I don't hate, but don't like. I dislike the archetype.
Yeah.
At best, I'm going to be neutral. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I guess at best we're talking about Mayuri.
I knew what you meant.
もう切るぞバイト頑張れよ
Yeah. For whatever reason, he doesn't respond. He also ended with that Baito Gambareo. Good luck at work. And then instead of being, like, upset that she was brushed off, she thanks him for the clear sentiment that he expressed that he normally doesn't express, and look at the look on his face.
He is smiling.
She did cheer him up. He didn't have to consult with the details, but she is there for him. And he's there for her. Even if he is a jerk.
And even if she isn't real.
Okabe, 顔がにやけてる
I'm like 40% serious on that possible theory.
40%. How dare you see me when I'm vulnerable?
何を言うかこのセルセブが
セレセブ言うな
How dare you overhear me have a conversation 5 feet in front of you?
Did you see the look in her eyes? I was going to tell Kurisu the truth, but, you know, now I've changed my mind. The mad scientist HOUOUIN KYOUMA would never grin at the words of a mere hostage like Mayuri. He really did. I guess the hostage thing is his way of working Mayuri into his world.
Yeah.
In a way, that too is sweet. For an admittedly given value of sweet, one often not used. But in his own way.
恋する乙女が好きな相手からのメールを待ってるみたい
Are you just going to sit here and make fun of me?
Yes.
Oh.
She sure likes to attack me for every little thing. Just like I'll do these big, grandiose, meaningless speeches.
そんなに構ってほしいのか
I say to myself.
ささやかな復讐よあんたからのひどい扱いにいつもぐっと耐えてるんだからそれぐらい許せ
I mean, she's not wrong.
At all.
これでも俺はお前をリスペクトしているつもりだぞ
That's true.
It clearly goes both ways.
They do respect each other. He just has a really weird way of showing it. He has a weird way of showing everything.
Way back when they were arguing the different philosophies, that's when he actually earned her respect. And then, you know, since then, that's really nice. It's really nice.
名前すらまともに呼んだこともないくせによく言う
Hey, he called you the zombie? The zombie? Mrs. the zombie?
Mrs. the Zombie is her mother. Call her Za.
It's like we're enjoying the content of the game or something.
No, don't be stupid.
それについてはすまないと思っている
And he apologized for it.
Now we're at the part where we're actually getting all these, what's the right word? Meaningful character interactions.
Yeah.
That means the bad stuff is coming.
へえ、意外。あんたって謝るんだ。
謝るさ。だがどうしようもないのだ。
I'm now about to give you a very chuny reason why I can't call you your name.
俺の脳は、お前のことを助手のクリスティーナという認識で固定してしまっていて、直しようがないからな。
It's been a while.
You have too much fun doing that. I'm calling the fun police.
No, not the fun police. They'll take me away. Something you said to me a few years ago that really stuck with me. You told me that if I'm playing a game, I wring every last drop of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, you do.
So that means that the fun police really would take me away. That was actually a really nice thing. I found it kind of moving.
怪盗して海馬に電極ぶっ刺してやりたい。
Oh God! Leave my hippopotamus alone. That's an elephant.
Hippocampus!
A major part of the brain. The hippocampus governs memory and spatial navigation. Huh? Memory and spatial navigation. Given what has happened to Okarin. I mean, I know it's just, a random thing, but it's the thing that governs memory and spatial...
So what you're saying is that he needs to stick electrodes in his own hippocampus in order to be able to move through the singularity in the curved black hole and not become jelly-chuny. I need a good name for that.
I'm saying he has a special hippocampus. That's how he can do what he does.
So you're saying that he was struck in the head by a meteor flung out the window, thrown by Viggo Mortensen with a monster truck for a head. He's not breathing fire right now, but he can.
No, but he would say that.
He would?
Okarin would. That sounds perfect.
See, I thought you were talking about Viggo Mortensen.
No, he doesn't say anything. He has a monster truck for a head.
Well, he can still talk. He breathes fire, see? So that means he has to have something that he can breathe through, like his nose. He can talk through his nose.
Oh my God.
Oh no! The first part of the line changed!
Darn it!
Oh no, it just added to it. Never mind. Right after that silly exchange, especially BSG's silly and stupid exchange, John Titor's mail arrives.
Very interesting. I read your message. From the events you described, it sounds like you did indeed change the past, shifting to an ever so slightly different world line. The one thing I don't understand is how you kept your memories of the previous world line. You're telling the truth, yes?
メールの相手って誰?
I'm telling the truth. Something similar happened to me before, too. What do you make of it?
Your hippocampus. Damon, that joke is irrelevant.
That was top tier, man. I can't even be upset that you made a terrible pun. That was quality work.
Hey.
Anyway, Titor did say in Atchan before, you can't know about me from another world line because that's not how it works. So here it is. I bet the name for it won't be as good as D-Effect. He should totally say John Titor.
John Titor.
Yes!
Eh?
Yeah.
嘘?
Yeah, because she knows who John Titor is. I don't know. The idea of using email to alter the past was never even considered in the year 2036 I'm from.
It's limitations. It's about limitations. All we can do is send 36 characters or something like that. We have to measure it in bytes. So you make do with what you have.
You've altered the past and shifted from your original world line. However, until now, no one has ever been known, continue please, to be able to observe convergence. Even so, Kyoma, you may have that power. You might be the one who can guide us to a world line beyond 1% convergence, across the wall that divides what are known as attractor fields.
Attractor fields?
Ha! That doesn't explain anything.
And I can't get to the word attractor field on... It's like it's at the bottom.
I see.
Though Titor's response was long, there was a lot that it left unexplained, just like every other way that he ever talks. I quickly send him follow-up questions. What is divergence? How do you measure it?
We need to know!
Well, we know the answer to A. We don't know the answer to B.
Well, right.
In fact, Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha Sage was quite explicit on the incredulousness of how you measure divergence.
奴はよほど悪意のある人間以外に対してはオープンだ。メルアドも公開している。こうしてやり取りするのは2度目だ。
After what's happened, can she really blow him off? He's confirmed. It's so weird. Those make it look like you're losing something.
Yeah!
But it all comes out in the end just fine.
I've confirmed that divergence is 0.571015%. I used a specialized meter to measure divergence, but it's 0.2 my original world line. That was an omitto. In other words, it's a subjective, not absolute measurement.
I like how we actually got the answer to that question that we asked about divergence from what? At that time, I remember squawking over and over about what it's measured from.
Uh-huh.
And, well, because that matters because of, well, like the number would be different depending on different perspectives, right?
Depending on your starting point.
And so, because if it wasn't subjective, then the capabilities of the meter that measures it would be different, and that could be important. Anyway, he confirmed that that's the case.
Is that the same number, though? I wonder if that's a different number from the first one he showed.
I have no idea. I do, however, remember that when the time comes up, it's like it flickers, and another number comes up, and I think that number was 0.57. I never paid attention after that, but I think that's right. Also, do you remember when we talked about 1% divergence?
Like how many people that was based on the population?
Yeah, it's an obviously incorrect, inaccurate descriptor, but the point is to the point was to analogize it.
Yeah.
Like 1% of the population of the United States is like 3.3 million. So you could look at it in terms of things being different as 1.6 million people.
Yeah.
Out of the entire US, okay? With like that's 0.5, okay? What I mean by that is, although the divergence is only 0.57, that's actually a lot, isn't it? What was it that Titor just said? He said, oh, that's the wrong button. You might be the one who can guide us to a world line beyond 1% divergence. Hitting that 1% must be a big deal. So for the what little has changed actually was more than 50% of that 1% that matters.
Okay.
But Titor's email is once again filled with strange jargon.
I have no memories of that world line. Strictly speaking, I was not being entirely accurate when I wrote that the Everett-Wheeler model is accepted in my time. The truth is, scientists have proven that the universe is comprised of attractor fields.
Uh-huh. Then again, in Gunbuster, space consists of luminiferous ether.
どうりであんたがタイタンの書き込みを引用したがるわけだ。信者ってわけね。
No, do you know about these? Do you want to talk about it? What?
It's okay, Okarin's distracted right now.
What are attractor fields? Attractor fieldo. I was wondering about that. And what in the world is beyond 1% divergence?
The universe!
そういうわけではない。だが奴の話にはうなずける点も多い。
そう？フィクションにしか思えないけど。
Attractor fields are the focal points of world line convergence. Their existence is responsible for the phenomena previously known as fate and chance.
My God, what was it I said about he didn't win the lottery, so he can't win the lottery? And you were like, was that being guided by fate?
So,
Also, the subject, Kibol, hope. Isn't that like ascribing some sort of special powers or special status to him, like you are our hope?
yeah, he knows just how to talk to Okarin.
I hadn't considered it from that angle, but you're right, huh?
So, I guess you can't change the world all that much unless you figure out how to get past an attractor field, whatever the heck that is. Because based on what he said, the way to get past 1% divergence, that kind of means that fate, or Steins Gate, or whatever,
Attractor fields.
attractor fields will prevent as much change as possible.
Yeah, thus the D effect. Well, they cause the D effect.
Yeah.
And also, we're not talking about divergence, but convergence, where the world lines converge, like come together.
Attracted.
Yeah. Instead of expanding out infinitely, they try to stay as tight as possible because they're constantly being pulled together.
So all the multi-worlds will converge into the primary world at some point. Think of like a tree that all comes together in the trunk.
Oh, okay, so it's like what you're talking about is like an upside down tree.
Yeah.
Like say if time is a scale, then we start at
one of the branches.
we start at the top of the tree and move down to the bottom
trunk.
of the trunk.
Yeah.
Like that's advancing time. That is possible. I'm not so sure that's the case, but that's very possible.
That's the impression I'm getting from it.
Even if there are an infinite number of parallel worlds, which may not be the case in the case of Steins Gate, even if that were true, if they can't get too far from each other, that does kind of imply a prime reality, even though that meter is subjective. Otherwise, they're currently at 0.57% divergence, and it can't go past 1% divergence.
From Titor's timeline.
Correct. So does that mean 0.57% divergence from Titor's timeline? That one can go 0.57% divergent from that timeline, which goes to another world line, which can go 0.57 divergence from that world line, which can go 0.57% divergence from that world line, thus extending out infinitely, and thus it's only the ones that are close together that tend to cluster or have to cluster. But there's still an infinite amount of totally different possibilities when viewed from afar, or it's like a tree, like the tree analogy. Did that make sense?
That made sense to me.
Just sort of depends on the definition of infinity. Alternately, perhaps attractor fields really don't let things get too far. Interesting! Attractor fields? Never heard of them.
There's no real point making small changes to a world line. Due to convergence, small changes do not have a lasting influence. You might be the one who can guide us to a world line beyond 1% divergence, across the wall that divides attractor fields. I realize that this is one that you've already read.
So not only is divergence a thing,
but convergence.
But convergence is also a thing. World lines that are close together, or period, try to come together. They try to not be too different from each other.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction?
That seems to be what he's saying. However, why would we want to... Oh, you would want to go to a world line beyond 1% divergence to...
Make an actual change that's worth something.
Like, say, not being conquered by CERN. But how did CERN do that?
Maybe they don't have to. If Okarin can't win the lottery, he's never going to win the lottery. What if CERN's just going to take over anyway?
What's with this guy?
Beyond that is true freedom. If we do not break through this wall, a dystopian future awaits. Smash the world's shell for the revolution of the world! My mission is to change that future. You may hold the power to do just that.
Like you said, maybe he does just know how to talk to Okarin. He thinks I have some kind of Power?
Especially if he's future Okarin, as one of our theories suggests.
Me? Some kind of power? But this last statement is pretty hard to swallow. Now that he claims I have special powers, he's starting to sound like some new age con artist. Well, if you ask me for money, I'm done. Judy worldview confirmed. I have special powers. I am the world's hope.
いきなり笑い出すのよ、気色悪い。
In fact, don't ever laugh like that.
Banana! Banana!
これが笑わずにいられるか。実に傑作ではないか。この俺が持つ力だと。
That's fantastic!
今さらそんなこと言われなくとも、俺はとっくに気づいていたぞ。ジョン・タイター。
Because now he absolutely is going to do this. He's going to because he has special powers.
この魔眼。
Ah!
リーディングシュタイナーの真の力にな。
Get away from me!
Reading Steiner? That's hilarious.
話の流れはさっぱり見えんが、岡部次長しろとだけ言っておく。
I mean, you know.
え?
Potato, potato.
あ。
Huh?
Miss Makise, you're a nerd, aren't you? The Titor who appeared in 2000 said he traveled back in time to retrieve technology lost in World War III. Yet this guy is saying he came to prevent the creation of a dystopia ruled by CERN. This guy might be an imposter. But he's telling me what I really want to hear and have some experience in. Another mail comes. And what I read there...
Kyoma, I want you.
Raises the hairs on the back of my neck. What is this? Fear? Disgust?
Kyoma, I want you. Hey.
Fear? Disgust? Or some other emotion?
Kyoma, I want you to be the Messiah.
I don't know, but something is very wrong. Chaos theory homeostasis.
ジョン・タイターは実にバカだな。
I guess it's time to start chapter 4. How fascinating that upon seeing that, Okabe Rintaro is like, this is crap, I can't be the Messiah, I'm supposed to be the man who brings chaos. Or it got it close enough that it actually terrified him.
Like you said, a lot of his worldview is being confirmed, and he was getting pretty freaked out by it.
I really like that human reaction. I guess that's how you can have a hardcore toonie as the main character.
And be compelling?
Yeah. Man, this is fantastic!
Looks like the game's finally starting to heat up. You know what that means.
Cliffhanger time!
Oh yeah!
But it's not really a cliffhanger. The chapter just ended.
Cliffhanger time!
And if we could just stop on the new chapter screen, then we would.
Cliffhanger time.
But we can't actually do that, you know? Just...
You are sucking all the fun out of this.